Part 5 of Up Your Game is currently on the channel. But before moving on, let me tell you about the AR Glove from the Wizards of TPC Tech. This AR/VR action glove is a gaming accessory that puts you in touch with your targets. The accessory can be used as a motion controller, a looting tool, light gun, and impact melee weapon, all in one. The glove is also wireless, and charge time is long, giving you hours to play your favorite games. So punch that throw and zap all of those waves with the AR/VR action glove by Transparent Cursor Technologies. Now, let's enter Part 6.
I am extending the range of my control, but I can still only command a few of the Ancient's relics at a time.
Commendable. But what about finding me a way out of this digital dimension?
I have run 1,700,050 simulations. There is no scenario to safely remove you from cyberspace.
Unacceptable. Keep looking. Make it your #1 priority.
But keeping you safe is my priority.
With all of the positive that I spoke of from before, it's clear that the PlayStation was a masterful 32-bit 3D console. Much like the Sega Genesis and NES, it was a box that could easily be played for years, even after its generation. After all, it had survived the fight against the strongest 64-bit console, the Nintendo 64. But regardless of its high-tech CD loading goodness, the Sony PlayStation had its share of flaws, mostly in the structure of the hardware itself. The PlayStation that my mother bought me from years before had developed a terrible disc reading error. I had read about the PlayStation's low-cost lens reader, making it so games took longer than usual to load. Eventually, the games would stop loading altogether, which was the time I decided to do some doctor's work by opening the hood. After cleaning the PlayStation's dusty interior, the machine would still crash and take forever to load a game. I had heard that cleaning the lens would help, so I bought a lens cleaning kit, which was also a failure. The Game Doctor disc repair tool insinuated to me that game discs were the problem, so I shelled out some cash for one of those and resurfaced every one of the discs in my collection. The Game Doctor had a positive effect, but only because every one of my games and demos had a ton of abrasions. It was quite unbelievable that after everything I paid for, I still couldn't get my PlayStation to work right. I tried oil cleans, alcohol wipes, prayer, but nothing would get me gaming back to normal. I felt like a tech study, so much time spent studying how to make the game work instead of actually playing. And to think that my mother paid extra for this thing, a console on the brink of collapse. Magazines kept sharing suggestions as to why the PlayStation wasn't future-proof, and as of today, I don't believe there was ever an overheating issue with the PlayStation. I think the faulty motor moving the lens about was the real problem. Even so, my next-door friend was willing to trade his Nintendo 64 for my faulty PlayStation. He was ready to be ready, I bet, and I was ready to go click like the Nintendo Switch. No, honestly, I was hurt that my game didn't function half as good as what I traded it for. The experience was like getting a Genesis for the second time, when the cartridge snapped into place like an airtight preschool lunchbox. I was impressed that I didn't even have to blow the cartridge to get the game started, and loading was non-existent. Playing games like Mission Impossible and GoldenEye 64 with zero load times woke me up to question the reality of how futuristic my PlayStation really was. Surely this is what I must have expected from a Nintendo game system, while my friend was across from my house trying to get even one PlayStation game to work right. He returned my birthday PlayStation in halves. Screws were coming out and possibly the motherboard. He apologized, but the console was already in ruins before we even traded, and the old PlayStation was not going to be returning to its usual status anyway. There was so much money I could make for doing side work with my dad, and it wasn't enough to pay for a replacement. And even if I had enough to buy a $300 console, Why would I want to? Only to have it choke after the warranty was up. And there was the problem with the PlayStation, its biggest flaw. Being a console with so much software support for major publishers such as Capcom, Namco, and Squaresoft, yet having the most fragile hardware on the market. I decided to take the bait. I bought at least 2 more used PlayStations over the course of the 32-bit generation, with both of them succumb to the same technical problem. I probably should have stopped investing in the brand, but once I went station, it wasn't an easy way out. The memory cards, I saved all my data on those things. The new DualShock, games felt more immersive than ever. With this advanced controller, with not 1 but 2 analog sticks, and the new L2 and R2 shoulder triggers, and the controller vibration feature that let me feel the powers of Psycho Mantis and the Rageful Afraid, oh, I was all in. I was captured like one of those little monkeys from Apexcape, and even inspired to create my own video game with RPG Maker. But that is a story that I'd rather not talk about in this video. Let's just say that my connection with Sony PlayStation lasted far past my graduation. The system evolved rapidly, and when I read over the specs for Sony's new Emotion engine, I was so ready to experience the console that would mark the end of the bit wars. One last time. This has been another part of the Up Your Game series. My fever just broke recently and I'm adapting to this alternating weather we're having. Is it cold or hot? I had a case of writer's block to come with it too.
Final stage.